The entire series of Dandadan can be boiled down to one important question that Okarun asked. Why is everything after my junk? Take a look at this shot. Everybody in this room is guilty of wanting Okarun's junk at some point. Turbo Granny wanted to steal his Todger from the moment she was introduced. Granny Seiko joked about peeking at his junk and ran after him that one time he wanted to take a dump. This series is about Momo getting together with Okarun, so that puts her on the list too. And in this episode, we find out she is not the only one with this ambition. Oh, I forgot. Later on in the episode, a bunch of alien dudes show up and they want Okarun's banana as well. This question made me laugh, but it's so true. This is the first reason why I believe Dandadan is so funny. It's self-aware that the events that are going on are batshit insane. Most of the time, the series doesn't take itself too seriously, but on the occasion that it does, we all take notice. I think that if Dandadan didn't have this absurd storyline about this guy on a quest to retrieve his equipment back from a granny who he stumbled on in a cave, that it would be way less memorable. The reason why this self-awareness is so effective is because of the dialogue. The characters always seem to bring attention to the bizarreness of these crazy events by casually dropping in these ridiculous lines. One of my favorite examples of this being that alien scene right at the end. The aliens show up and pin Okarun to the ground with their power. They claim that they want his banana organ so that they can obtain his abilities. At least they give a better reason this time, even if it is still hella gross. One of them grows, transforms. To put it plainly, a pair of scissors comes out of this alien's crotch and fuck. If someone comes into your room during this scene, you are cooked. He wants to snip off Okarun's banana. If I was in this situation, the first thing that would come to my mind would have been, no! Not, I still only have one testicle. And it's not just silly one-liners. The characters have amazing banter between each other, even if they speak with a mouth full of noodles at times. My favorite bit of banter is when Ira is trying to get a kiss from Okarun. Okarun is like, aren't you popular? Why does a popular girl have such little game? Ira's retort to this had me in stitches. You like mature lips? Homegirl, you are like 15? Why would you say that? That's something you'd expect to hear out of the grandmas of this show. It gets worse after Momo's Bolin moment. So these two are in very suggestive poses. I get it. But Momo's mind must permanently be in the gutter for these comments. You took off your jacket and you're even sweating. What's that on your arms? Part of your kinky play? From my experience of these sort of scenarios, the characters are totally serious. They are like, how could you? Or they just start crying while running away. They don't start narrating the minute details of the spicy stuff that could or couldn't have taken place. And girl, they are in school of all places. Sure, I've played a bit of footsie underneath the table in uni, but what was she expecting these two to be doing? Then again, I don't recall seeing too many people laid out like this back in my day when I was in high school. Another reason that Dandadan is so funny is that it plays with our expectations. So Okarun received his junk from the last episode, and I'm over here wondering like, how are they going to reattach that thing? I didn't think it would be a physical process because that would turn into the most crude and gross game of Operation. I'm sure Tatsu would be thrown into Shonen Jump jail for that sort of thing. My prediction was that there'll be some kind of stupid ritual of reattaching it using spiritual energy, of course. But no, this is Dandadan. Him regaining his ball, resembling how he he lost it wouldn't make any sense. So Turbo Granny squares up in a bowling stance, aiming to pitch the ball back into Okarun's crotch. What the fuck? But it doesn't stop there. Granny Seiko thinks this is a game and she's ready to hit his crown jewels out of her household. Just imagine if it did happen. Man, it's a shame what happened to Todd. It was so sudden. Yeah, I wonder how that golden ball ended up cracking his cranium. Momo isn't any better. She's trying to be a catcher. All of this works because each one of these characters are lovable idiots. I love the choice that is made when starting this episode. Instead of picking back up with the characters being moody after Silky's ascendance into another world, we pick up with an awkward lunchtime scene. Or at least I believe it's lunchtime. I'm not sure what time of the day it is. The atmosphere present is bizarre. Things are tense as Momo and Ira are squaring each other up, and our favourite straight man doesn't know how to react to this, so he half chokes on his noodles. At this point, Momo and Ira are the chick equivalent of Zoro and Sanji, sworn enemies that hate each other so much that they have created their own form of communication to shit talk each other. For every rivalry, you always have your favourite, and in this case, it's gotta be Momo, because whenever I'm feeling down or bored, I always know I can replay this scene. On a serious note, I want to apologize to all of the Ira stans out there. I think I misjudged Ira. Before I thought she was a malicious cow, and I was wrong. In fact, all of Twitter was wrong. She's not evil, she's just stupid. Or at the very least, naive. Nah, fuck it. She's stupid. She made up this Beauty and the Beast scenario in her head that she must acquire her forbidden love with the demon boy next door. I could honestly imagine her being one of those girls who was addicted to reading Twilight and then shaping each one of her relationships after this warped perspective. So we jump to school and Okarun didn't forget his One Punch Man training. He's working out because he wants to be able to protect Momo whenever another yokai or pervy alien comes their way. That's when Pinky shows up. She's all like, two lovers. In school they met each other, a ball unites these people, alien spirits divide them apart. Why does his junk bring them together? They found the granny, secret tunnel. You can't tell me that song isn't accurate. Anyways, she makes a move and Okarun slaps her in the face. Bro, there are rejections and then there's just being a savage. That was uncalled for. Ira believes all she needs to do is attempt to kiss a guy and everything would work out. Guess where she got this ingenious way of navigating relationships? Her dad's edition of Make Out Paradise. While she is stupid, I think this is great writing because typically people get their first bits of relationship advice from their parents. From what we know of Ira, she's been raised by her dad. I was raised by my mum and I always found it awkward talking to her about this sort of stuff when I was younger. So I imagine it would be weird for her to talk to her dad about this, which makes her reading fiction for advice on relationships all the more believable, even if it is stupid. What brings all of this together is character animation and funny visual gags in general. I've seen a few comments floating around about last week's episode saying that it's overrated because people are just talking about the animation and visuals. I find this take absurd because this is anime. This is Animation? If you aren't interested in animation, read a manga or watch a live action TV show instead. And better yet, if you aren't interested in any form of visual storytelling, why not just read a book? I'm not saying this to be a prick. What I am saying is that every medium of storytelling comes with its own unique attributes. When audiences are exposed to an animated work that goes the extra mile ahead of its contemporaries airing alongside it, a work that pushes the boundaries of what the medium is capable of in a TV format, of course they're gonna gush over it. Visuals aren't everything, but they are extremely important. A wise YouTuber once said that aesthetics are narrative, and I completely agree with this sentiment, because a huge reason why I find Dandadan so funny is because of how it looks and how it moves. I like how Ira and Momo tiptoe around this table while punching away bits of text on screen. Okarun's expression here is priceless. I've always loved it when animators go off model to create these exaggerated expressions. The icing on the cake is this hilarious slow motion yell. Then we have this little bit of playful animation. It's not a technical marvel, it's just one drawing bouncing up and down, but its stiffness and rudimentary movement adds to the comedy of this scene. Imagine if, instead of Okarun and Ira skipping around like this with their arms out and this secondary action of him kicking off the opposite foot, we got a simple back and forth with minor head movements and lip flaps. Maybe this is all simple stuff to other people, but to me, this just adds to the experience. What they are saying is funny, but the animation adds an extra layer of comedy. Then there's this expression. I don't even need to describe this one. Final thoughts. Some people have stated that Silky's story isn't important because they fail to see how it connects to Ira. I'm not here to refute this point because I addressed how they are connected previously, but what I do want to point out is that I lost my shit when I saw this transformation. Ira transforms into Silky Acrobat, and I'm thinking every time I see this girl transform, I'm gonna flash back to this scene. Now I'm sad. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel more connected to this transformation because of the journey we took to obtain it, rather than it just being some skill that Ira has or just randomly obtains. Just looking at this pose makes me excited to see how Ira handles Silky's powers. On another note, I like this love triangle because everyone is invested in it to a certain degree, even if Okarun doesn't have any feelings for Ira yet. I have a feeling at some point that could change. You never know. Another thing is, I'm curious to see what Granny Seiko's role will be in the grand scheme of things, as we haven't seen her involved in a big way with any of the major conflicts so far. She's just played support. I'm assuming that once we get our first huge arc, then she'll be involved in a bigger way. For now, she's supporting them in the background, which isn't a bad thing, but I want more screen time for her, especially because I want to see more of her power in action. She just screams aura in this scene. Maybe they are saving the best for later like they did with Gojo. I don't know. Dandadan is giving me the same feel as an old cartoon that I used to adore called Code Lyoko. One minute they'll be chilling in school pretending to not have feelings for each other. Then the next minute there's a Xana attack and everything gets turned upside down. I love how school life and shenanigans are seamlessly blended into each other like this. Overall, the biggest takeaway from this episode is that Ira is stupid. Unites these people, alien spirits divide them up. No.